In the soft, dappled light filtering through the sheer curtains, the old blue trunk sat quietly, full of decades of memories in the corner of Grandma's room. Its once rich surface was now etched with the gentle wear of time, the darkened patina speaking of ages past. This trunk, with its iron hinges and the lock that had not felt the turn of a key in many years, held within its belly not gold or silver, but treasures of a different kind, treasures of gossamer threads and love-worn fabric. I recall the day Grandma pulled up the heavy lid, its hinges creaking like the opening lines of a long-lost story. As the light spilled into the cavernous interior, the trunk revealed a patchwork of history, a collection of old baby clothes that once swaddled the tender frames of Grandma's 10 babies. Each tiny garment, neatly folded and stacked with care, told a story of giggles and lullabies, of first steps and sunny afternoons in the garden. Little booties, hand knitted with yarn, that had felt the warmth of Grandma's loving hands, lay next to delicately embroidered bonnets that had shielded little infant eyes from the golden sun. With each item that Grandma presented, her eyes would light up and she would share a story with each precious piece of clothing that she pulled out. The trunk exuded a faint scent of lavender and thyme, a perfume that whispered of bedtime stories and tender kisses on little rosy cheeks. It was a monument to motherhood's journey, a chronicle of growth and change, each piece a chapter in the family's legacy. And as the aged lid creaked open, it seemed as if the trunk itself sighed, releasing tales of yesteryear into the room, ready to be retold and cherished by the generations to come. The room seemed to hold its breath as the old wooden trunk creaked open, its hinges singing the song of the past. Grandma's wrinkled hand, still strong and sure, reached into the depths, and one by one she brought forth the garments that whispered of days long gone. Each one was more than fabric. It was the fragment of her heart, a piece of her soul given to her children. First came James's little jeans, the denim faded to a soft blue, the knees bearing the marks of countless adventures. Grandma's eyes twinkled as she recounted tales of her little boy who climbed trees and chased the horizon, who grew up to be as sturdy and dependable as the trunk itself. Next was Helen's dress, the fabric of a delicate pink, with tiny flowers that seemed to bloom anew in Grandma's gentle grasp. She spoke of a little girl with laughter like a bubbling brook, who twirled in the sunlight, her world a canvas of joy and innocence. Then there was Gladys's tiny little sleeper, a soft yellow that seemed to hold the last rays of a setting sun. Here, Grandma's voice would falter, the threads of her story tinged with the pain of love that burned bright but all too brief. She would cradle the sleeper in her arms, closing her eyes and swaying gently, her voice filtering in the tender strains of Cherokee hymns that once tried to soothe her fragile life. Lois's little shoes came next, their little leather scuffed from the steps of a child who walked into a world with one less guiding hand. Spoiled with love and laughter, Lois was the rainbow after the storm, and Grandma's stories of her were filled with the fierce protectiveness of a mother's love. And so the memories continued to unfold. Buck's mischievous grin and Raymond's thoughtful gaze and Debbie's infectious giggles. Each child's story was a thread in the family like quilt, a pattern of love, loss, triumph, time. Then there was Sue, my ma, the tomboy who never met a challenge that she didn't face head on. Her clothing was a mix of the practical and the unexpected, reflecting a girl who could outrun the boys and still charm the room with her singing voice. Her brother's affectionate nickname, Sooty, spoke of battles fought in jest and love that ran deeper than any scrape or bruise. Lastly, Grandma reached for the little baby clothes of Harlan and Kathy Rose. Harlan, her baby boy, who carried the strength of his name and the gentleness of his mother's touch. And Kathy Rose, the last bloom of Grandma's garden, with garments that held the softness of the final petals of summer, cherished and adored. As Grandma shared these stories, the trunk seemed to come alive, each item a key unlocking the past, allowing it to dance once more in the present. Grandma's old trunk wasn't just a storage chest, it was a time capsule, a legacy, a family's love carved into every fiber. And as I listened, every tale became part of me, too. The old trunk, with its treasury of garments and the echoes of the past that it contained, became a cornerstone of my past memories. In the delicate weave of each baby dress, the sturdy seams of little overalls, and the soft folds of worn little sleepers, I found the strands of my own identity, lovingly preserved by Grandma's storytelling. The old trunk in Grandma's room was more than just a box of old baby clothes. It was a family photo album out of fabric. Every time Grandma lifted the lid and pulled out a little piece of clothing, like Uncle James's tiny jeans or Aunt Kathy Rose's little baby dress, it was like she was flipping through pages of our family history. Each piece of clothing was a whispering tale of a baby step or drool and laughter replaying in her mind, and to keep the history of our family going by pulling out that old chest once a year so we could all hear it all over again. Something that she put together from the heart, a little legacy that showed us what she went through, um, what she put into raising her children. Thank you guys. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any old memories or ways of preserving memories. I think I have a trunk for each of my kids. Well, thank you all for listening. See you next time, hopefully, on Tales Told in the Dark.